Back on August 1st, Jason Donnelly was introduced at a press conference here at Furman as the Powell's new athletic director, replacing Mike Buddy, who had taken the job at the United States Military Academy in West Point. And in the last month and a half or so, Jason has been, he has been a little bit of everywhere. The one thing he has not done very much of, quite honestly, is sit down. But he did that with us on Wednesday, and we had an extended conversation that you are about to see. The only thing that I'm sorry about is that for some reason, a technical glitch, we lost the first 4 or 5 minutes of that conversation, and you missed a great story about him playing defense against his 3-year-old son at Clay Hendricks' radio show on Monday. But outside of that, every important thing that we talked about is coming up for you in the next 25 minutes. And when the conversation opens, Jason is talking about the 4 priorities he has immediately for this athletic department. So here is the sit-down conversation with Athletics Director Jason Donnelly.
Athletes, as coaches, as administrators, and how we contribute to the larger university, there's 4 different objectives that are really at the forefront of everything that we're looking to do. So the first of which is graduating complete student athletes and really understanding what that means. Yeah. Furman does this. We've got high graduation rates. We've got a commitment to excellence in the classroom. We've got this wonderful Furman advantage that's really intended to help benefit all of our students. And to graduate complete student athletes means that from the time that you recruit them to taking them through this 4-year experience to having them as alumni be successful and feel like that they can have this love, appreciation, and affinity for Furman, that they feel connected is most important. I think we do that incredibly well. The second thing that we're always focused on is competing to win championships. And one of the things I've shared with our head coaches and our administrators is that right now, today, each of these programs is positioned to do that. Every single one of them is in a position to win championships and to win championships now and to do it the right way with integrity and to do it with class. And I think as you're watching this football season play out and you see how this is coming together and you see our men's and women's soccer teams, you see our cross country, our golf, our tennis, so our fall sports are just positioned that way. When you look at our basketball teams with Jackie's team being preseason number 1, with Bob's coming off an incredible season where they beat Villanova and they were in the top 25 and to see them preseason number 3 in the conference, that we're really positioned extremely well right now to do that. And probably the one team that this year is having a tough year, our volleyball team, and Michelle's had incredible success for her whole career. So that's not something you're worried about. It's just a tough year. But to see that their attitude and the way that they approach practice and to see how they approach their games, and I'm watching them. I'm in the same building with them in Alley Gym. And they're working incredibly hard, and they're not down about it. They're competing to get better every day. But the third part of what we're looking to do is we're actually looking to operate in a culture of compliance and collaboration, and that really has to speak to our campus and to how we're doing things there and how we're doing things on a national level and the way that we're buying in. And I actually think this is an area that we need some increased improvement from our department. It's an area that we need to do things better in terms of having that symbiotic relationship with our campus so that they know what we're thinking and we know what they're thinking, that we're doing that. And that'll have an impact on admissions and academics and the Furman advantage. It's just a big picture piece. And then the final piece that I'm excited to get to is the raising revenues. With all of our sports programs, it's going to include fundraising and the managing our expenses of what we need to do, of what we have, that we have an allocation. So I think the fourth one's probably the one where we have the greatest opportunity for growth, and it's also probably the area where we've got to put more time in management in terms of fiscal responsibility.
And one of the reasons you're here is because you have an incredible wealth of experience in that particular aspect of running an athletic department, among other things. But you're here because you have had a lot of success in raising money.
Yeah. So the fourth bucket on that list, and I'm blessed. I had a chance as a teacher and as a coach to do the first one, to graduate the complete student athletes. That was my past. We did that really well. I had a chance to be a part of multiple championship programs where we were winning national championships and state championships and conference championships. So I was able to do those things. I was a part of an organization the last 15 years where a culture of compliance and collaboration was at the forefront of everything we did. And it really accelerated. And that's what I'm trying to get everyone to understand, is that if we all work together in the same direction, we can accomplish great things. But the thing that I was most recently doing was the fourth piece, which was the raising revenues through fundraisings and the fiscal responsibility. And what I've seen with Furman is that you've got this first-class, excellent institution where there's incredible history, tradition, alumni support, people love this place. The student athletes love it. The coaches love working here. The alumni that are a part of it, they all have got great feelings about Furman. And it's very similar to where we were at Villanova when I first got there, which is this great institution that hasn't necessarily tapped into what the opportunities are from a larger standpoint. So much of what I've been focused on is probably what I discussed with you probably the last time we did this, which was at the interview. When they announced me for the position at the press conference, is we need to build our brand. We need to build Furman so that a larger audience and a larger number of our own people and an extended community, whether that's Greenville or the upstate or in a national audience, have got a chance to experience how excellent that this is. And I used this example in this lunch I just had earlier. One of my first days on the job, I go to an event that President Davis had put together, and it was for incoming parents along with their freshmen that are getting here on campus. And I walk in the door, and I meet a woman and her daughter who just got here. I said, "Where are you from?" They're from California. So, "Well, how did you find Furman?" So, "Well, we were watching a Furman basketball game on national TV. And they were probably playing Villanova. And we said, 'Hey, what's Furman?' And then they go from Furman watching the game to getting on a website to saying, 'Wow, this place looks amazing,' to doing some research on what it really is, to visiting campus, getting here and falling in love with this campus, and then committing ultimately to be a part of it." And that's the template. That's the example of what this is all about, is that athletics is the opportunity for us to be a front porch for Furman nationally, internationally, in Greenville, in the upstate, in our larger community. And this place is amazing, and I don't think everyone really knows nationally what it's all about. And that's why we do this, is to really build this brand. And I was there with you at Virginia Tech. We got our football team's up 14-3, and my phone is blowing up from people all across the country, that are following Furman, and that's just my connections. That's just the people that I know nationally that are saying, "Hey, your football team just put an ACC opponent on their backs 14-3, and they're doing it the right way and the way they competed." And it's just an opportunity of these exposure opportunities that we have for Furman to further that. And then if we've been fortunate enough to win that game, the opportunities that our athletic department can bring from an exposure standpoint back to the university, the reason the fundraising comes about is that you have, if you meet your value proposition and you're doing the right job in the classroom and you're doing the right job in the social experiences, and then if you compete in the right way and you compete the way that we're doing with our teams at a high level and a national level, the exposure, the media, the web hits, the admissions applications, the fundraising, all of these things wind up getting looped back together, and it only benefits Furman University from a larger perspective. And that's exactly what we did at Villanova. It's the same template.
You come from a similar environment in a lot of ways. And there's a misnomer out there among some in the world of academia that you can't be a great academic school and be a great athletic school at the same time. And the feeling is that one has to happen at the expense of the other. I think there are plenty of examples across this country that show that that's not the case, that the two can not only coexist, but as you said, they can thrive, number one, and benefit one another, number two, which is the most important thing. And we, I think, are beginning to see that here, and largely because of what the basketball team last year, I think some people on this campus maybe have seen it for the first time.
Yeah, if you look at a larger national level, and you look at the institutional pride, and you look at the best large academic schools that carry, football bowl series, the Stanfords, the Notre Dames. If you look at, what everyone's accomplished on a national level, you look at just recently in the basketball sphere, everyone knows what Duke's accomplished with that model, and you look at what Villanova's accomplished. Virginia just did it in this way, where you're emphasizing the academics. And in this space, in terms of what we're trying to do, and it was very encouraging getting to know Bob Ritchie and him saying, kind of figured out this was our niche. We kind of figured out that if we go after high academic, high character student athletes and families that really get what this is all about, and to talk to Clay Hendricks and his staff and to say, okay, who are you running into in recruiting? And we're running into the Ivy Leagues and the academies. And you get a sense from all these other coaches. You talk with Robert and Rita Gary, and you talk with Doug Allison, and you start figuring out they're all competing against the best of the best academic schools, because we're getting a certain type of profile student that truly cares about getting this elite academic experience while also competing at a high level. And there's a market for this, there's a brand for this, and there's an opportunity. And I think this actually helps us separate ourselves from the pack, because you have to be more purposeful in your recruiting when you go through this process, and you got to really identify the type of student athletes and families that really value what this is. But when you have that niche and you can have this great academic experience, it's only going to accelerate the athletic experience. Folks that sometimes say, well, you're making it harder. We're not making it harder. We're actually just making our purpose more intentful, that we know exactly what we're trying to do and trying to be more direct. But I've got great pride in what this model is. I'm a big believer in what this can be. And I think that Furman's continued academic growth is only going to help accelerate our continued athletic prowess. This
is Jason Donnelly. He is the athletic director here at Furman as we continue with our first opportunity to kind of sit down and have a long-form type of interview, because we just can't pin the guy down. He's just been running around like the proverbial madman. So you've got the philosophy, you've got the steps in place. What is the timetable where you go from being an observer of the coaches and administrators and everybody who's under you to where you feel comfortable when the moment comes that you have to make personnel decisions?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, I'm coming into this year, and I think I said this at my first meeting that we had with our staff, and I think I said this, I've said it numerous times, that this year for me is evaluating everything. This is me going to a game and evaluating our facilities, our setup, our fans, everything that we're doing. It's me in conversation with our staff. It's me spending time with everyone. So one of the things I've told everyone here is, I'm coming here on my own. I'm not bringing anybody with me. We're blessed that from day one, our administration believes in our coaches and our staff. So we've got a really good thing going here. Assessing our facilities of what we have here, and we've got some first-class facilities. We've got some work to do in some areas, but we got some first-class facilities that are really good, and to really get a feel. So in my mind, I've come into year one as a true evaluation year, most importantly to understand and learn the culture, to get to know all the different constituencies that are here, from the student athletes to the coaches to the administrators, the fans, the season ticket holders. That's been my objective for year one, is to get to know that. And then along the way is the implementation of different things. So, for example, I saw very clearly that there's a very clear and unique opportunity with the well downtown of what that means, and that opportunity is right there in front of us, and it's something that the sooner we get it started, the quicker that we're going to have success with that in the long term, not necessarily in the short term. In the short term, we've got a lot of work to do to make that a great product for our teams and for our fans. But over time, having the ability to play games in Timmons Arena with this intimate, intense environment on campus, and also this ability to play in a larger arena that allow us to attract teams that otherwise would not play us in Timmons. And I use the example with Villanova. Like when I was doing scheduling for Villanova, we would play anyone, anywhere, but we weren't going to Timmons. We definitely weren't going to go on to someone's campus arena. We had this conversation with Gonzaga. We weren't going to go into Gonzaga's home court, but we would play them in a neutral. Well, we've got an opportunity with this arena to not only schedule some really good opponents that we would normally schedule, whether that's conference or non-conference, but to go after some Power Fives to bring them in there as an NCAA tournament site, and to look at that as an opportunity in the city of Greenville, and to work on some selective dates. We didn't have a whole lot of options this year. We just had to go with what we could get. But to really be able to use that and be able to have that as an opportunity then to expand our base. We've got an opportunity, for instance, in the city of Greenville. It's the largest alumni network that we have right now, that city, to say, let's not only take Furman into Greenville, but let's get Greenville to become a part of Furman, right. And then also to build our basketball fan base for both Bob Ritchie and for Jackie Carson's programs, and go from there. So that's an example of some tweaks. For instance, this weekend, I'm looking at our football game day experience. There's a lot of things that I love, and there's a lot of things I want to improve. And I just said, how quickly can we get this beer garden off the ground? And this I think it gets announced today, but we're going to do a beer garden, right over here, right by the Champions Walk, right inside the stadium. And that's an opportunity for all of our alumni and all of our fans that come back, that want to come to a game. It's just been a really simple piece of feedback, is that people say, I'd really like to have a beer at a game if I could. That would help with the game day experience, or maybe get more fans here. So that's not for everybody. That's not intended to take anything away from the game day experience that we've had here forever. But I've noticed in my travels that there's a lot of people that stay outside the stadium, and they're out there with their TV sets, and they're not coming in because they want to have all their tailgate stuff. So this is just an opportunity to do that. We've got to do some more stuff with our kids. We've got to do some more bouncy castles and more different opportunities at Kids Zone to do that. My family's on the hill over there when we're here at the games.
I was going to say, you got the perfect test subjects for any bouncy house we want to put out there, right?
But you and I look at it the same way. Like we we're watching this team and how well coached they are, how committed they are, and we got a great product, and we just got to get more people here in the stadium to see it and feel it and be a part of it. And part of it's on us. Part of it's on Furman to make sure that our fans come to a game and really enjoy it. I've been talking to our students about this. I've been asking our fans about it, just trying to get feedback from them. But the other part of it is getting more people here and saying, okay, what are some things that each group, what's important to them? What's important to our season ticket holders? What's important to our parents? What's important to our students? What's important to our coaches? What's important to our faculty and staff? So when you start interviewing all these different groups and you say, what's it going to be? My family is a good example of this. I love going to football games, and if you've put some kids stuff in there and my kids are entertained, I'm going to watch the game, and I'm going to bring some friends with me, and we're going to hang out and watch the game. And that's the type of stuff that we're trying to do from an external marketplace to try to grow it. And it's not just football or basketball. It's soccer, and it's baseball, and it's golf, and it's an all-in commitment, starting with me, but with me, our student athletes, our coaches, our administrators, to really provide a first-class game day product for everyone that's around Furman Athletics.
You've been so gracious with your time, and I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do want to go back to the well for a second. Number one, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I'm not saying that because you're sitting here. If I didn't like it, I'd tell you.
I know you would.
But there are skeptics, and every aspect of life there are skeptics, and I have heard some people say, well, we're just now getting to the point where we may have more than a handful of sellouts at a 2,000-seat Timmons Arena. Why in the world do we want to go down and play in a 5,000-seat configured stadium or arena downtown? That's something that has been asked.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great question, and no one here wants to lose home court advantage, especially Bob and especially me, as we're going through this process. But we have to think bigger, and we have to think bigger about what Furman's all about. And what I mean by that is that we went through a similar process at Villanova. We had the Wells Fargo Center. Again, it's a different market and it's a different environment. But I remember a game there with John Calipari and Jay Wright coaching where it was quiet. You can hear crickets, going through there. It hadn't caught on. But I was also the beneficiary of watching how this played out over a 15-year period of time, the growth of it, where it got to the point where we studied this, all the different scheduling and the weekends and the impact of people coming in from Chicago, from New York, from Florida, from Washington, D.C., where we were selling that thing out. And for as much as people say today, hey, we don't want to lose the home court advantage, we had 18,000-plus home court advantage when we were in those environments. And that's the type of thing that this allows us to do. The other part of it that when you're looking at this is that there does come a point from a competitive standpoint, in addition to what you'd say with Timmons, okay, we got this, we're building this great environment too. You have to be able to flex what you do for revenue purposes also. Mm-hmm. Everyone here wants to compete. Everyone here wants to win. We have a dynamic coach in Bob Ritchie, and we have a dynamic program that needs accelerated growth. And the accelerated growth comes in the form of additional season ticket sales. It comes in addition of sponsorships. It comes in the addition of other measures revenue-wise, some of them philanthropic, that allow this program to grow. And this is the growth that I experienced at Villanova, is that we got salaries, we got operating expenses, we've got things that we need to grow to be more competitive. So if everyone wants Furman to stay the same, it's going to stay the same if we stay in Timmons. We've got to get outside of Timmons to say, how do we grow this basketball product, and how do we have confidence in what this team can be and where we're headed? And is this going to catch on for December 14th? I can't tell you that it's going to be for the first time, but I can tell you, if the fans and our season ticket holders and our students and our faculty and our staff, if they get behind this, by the time we get to that Wofford game on February 22nd, that could be a rocking, loud environment that has room to grow and has a chance to really be an incredible environment. And the other thing about that arena is it gives us the ability to think about what other amenities do we want this experience to be? An outside carnival that's going to allow our fans to come down there, the tailgating that will take place around the arena, the Pepsi area that we have a space for our students to go and hang out. There'll be more amenities and premium seating. So there's all different things you can add to this product, and also the accessibility for folks that are down in the Greenville upstate area that want to be a part of this, getting into Greenville. And that's just the beginning. The vision as you go forward from here is that we're in a competitive landscape when it comes to basketball. And I just had a chance to visit Wofford's campus last week. And when you see that arena and the competitive juices start getting going for you, we have a responsibility here to also look at our own facilities and say what allows us to recruit and compete at the highest possible level, not just in the Southern Conference, but on a national level, and what allows us to get there. So unless we think outside the box and try some things that are big and get behind this program, and that's why no one said it better than Bob. Bob's post-game interview after the NIT, and it's amazing. There's a video. It's online. You can find it on Twitter, and the basketball team put it together. We had it at the Daniel Joyner Golf Classic dinner. And Bob said it the best. He said, we need everyone to get behind this. And when we mean everyone, we need everyone. We need 7,000 Furman fans that are part of this. If they really believe in what Furman can be, not just the basketball program, but this whole university, we need folks that say, I'm committed to it. I'm going to get behind it. I'm going to do my part. And I'm going to push this thing forward, because that's going to allow us to have accelerated growth on and off campus with our basketball program, with our university. All of these things work together. So as much as it may be controversial to try something like this, and it may be something that's a little bit outside the box, this is the right decision from the big picture for Furman.
You've not quite been here 60 days yet. You've still got a little bit of time to get to that first 60-day road marker. What do you foresee the next 60 days? What are you prioritizing in the short term? We've talked a lot of long term.
Yep.
So your 4 goals, a lot of long term. What's your short term priority, say, between now and the end of the year?
Yeah, I've got coming into the job, and again, I'm well prepared and great mentors getting into this process. I had a 30, 60, 90 day perspective on things I wanted to get done, and I'm proud. I know what we've gone through to date, that I hit the 30s and the 60 mark, and there's some things I want to do in the 90 mark. So we're right on schedule with what we need to do. There's probably about 10 different things that are some core elements around the athletic department and around the university that we're strategically focused on right now. And there's a number of them have to do with those different objectives that I talked about.
Right.
Some of them are focused on this student experience and what we need to do and how that impacts admissions, financial aid, scholarships, and all that different bucket. Some of them have to do with how we work within the Furman Advantage and how we handle registration and how we handle the on-campus feel for where we're headed, that we're headed in the right direction academically, and that we're also I've got some great feedback from our students that things are really important to them as student athletes that they think that we need, and I agree with them, that we need in order to compete at this level and also be able to allow them to have more flexibility academically. Some of these things have got to do with gender equity. Some of these things have got to do with marketing and promotions. Some of these things have got to do with revenue growth and fundraising. So for me, the next 60 days as we turn into this is that right now we're laser focused on our fall sports. We're laser focused on providing everything we need to do for our football and soccer and cross-country teams, everything we need to do right now at this stage in the game, also academically mid-semester here through our first semester. But we're now transitioning into that basketball season. We're transitioning into that winter season. So as you head into the month of October, it's that period of time where you're getting ready for the winter sports and for that tune-up. So in the next 60 days, in addition to everything we're doing with our fall sports, it's going to be the tune-up around all of our winter sports. I do have an aggressive schedule in terms of still getting in front of a lot of different campus partners that we have here. My intent between now and New Year's is that my hope is that I can get in front of all the different people in our department at this university, so that I have made that personal connection between now and Christmas time. So that's kind of the goals that I have. There's a big part of me that would love to begin to start focusing from a lot of the internal things that we're doing to start focusing on the external and to start thinking about the growth of where we're headed. So there's a number of things as we go forward that, I think the biggest thing I've got to do is say Rome wasn't built in a day. It doesn't all need to be accomplished today. And we're going to get to a lot of these things.
Is that hard for you?
It is, because I'm an optimistic, aggressive, person that I really want to push the pace on what we're doing. But I've seen the pace here improve, in terms of what we're trying to do. There's great buy-in from our leadership. There's great buy-in from our coaches and administrators. There's great buy-in from our student athletes to what we're trying to do. I have to remind myself this is going to be a process. Mm-hmm. This is something that, I use the 5-year. This is a 5-year commitment. This is me coming in here to over the next amount of years. We're going to look to improve these things in time and remember when we hit those points. So I have to pace myself and my expectations in that way. But Dan, I'm fired up. I mean, I couldn't be in a better place. We're right there. This is right in front of us for what we need to do. I'm excited and optimistic looking ahead, and I really do want to capitalize on what we have right now. As I mentioned, the type of coaches and student athletes that we have here right now, the leadership that we have right now, the fans that we have right now, we're right on the cusp of doing something really special, but it's just the beginning. We're just getting started.
Well, the other thing that I hope you'll do is take a little moment to celebrate the small victories as they come along. Yeah. And I know from your very first day on campus here at your press conference that you've got your priorities right.
Yeah.
Faith, family, and then your job. So as long as any of us keep those in the right order, I think we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, and you just said it the perfect way. I mean, the most important thing I've done here, and I've been very open about it, is I've helped transition my family here.
Yeah.
We found our church. There's Wednesday night service tonight. You got Sunday services, and my wife and kids have really integrated really well to the community, independent of Furman, that they've found their places in their niche. We've made some really good friendships already, both personally and for our friends, because I could work a ton, but I need to make sure that they are where they need to be, and that's been really good. I've had a really good time. There's been a lot of fun moments already in terms of being a part of this, so I feel really good about the faith, the family. There's obviously a lot of friendships that I missed from where I came. There are some great core friendships that are there, but building new friendships here has been a lot of fun. I think the one thing I got to do better, and Coach Bernardi and Matt Thomas and Matt Aldred are on me about, I got to get my workouts in, is that I think that's the one area I've been slacking, is that I have not done a good enough job with my fitness. I'm not out of shape, but I'm not in the shape I was when I got here. But if I could get back to that, I'd feel pretty good.
Well, you keep going to these dinners and keep doing things like that, you can get out of shape real quick.
Real quick.
Jason, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
That is Jason Donnelly, the athletic director here at Furman, and we'll be back in just a moment.